Chronicles TV on air. We are now live in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back to an episode of the Ace Attorney Chronicles. In the previous episode, we've completed the first, probably could be more, of the summation examination. Today's episode right now, we're going to go back into trial and hear the freaking Skulkin brothers' testimony. If you're hot today's episode, make sure that like button subscribe to the channel. Order, please. Let's resume the proceedings. Witnesses, you will now retake the stand. Here we go again. I presume you heard the defense counsel summation examination? Oh, yeah, Governor.
I did, Gov. I did.
Mr. and Mrs. Skulkin. Mr. and Mrs. I'm always saying that. This is going to be hard work. Earlier this trial, you gave the following testimony about your actions after you entered Whitney Banks. Saying that you guys did nothing of any sort besides shooting my compatriot. However, that was a lie. You brothers... God, blimey! On the night in question, you rifled through the items on the victim's counter. We never done nothing. How do you figure that out? You just gave it away. You will now give formal testimony once again. You'll tell the court precisely what happened on the night in question, and this time you will tell the truth. Each lie that passes your lips starts to increase the severity of your punishment. And that, gentlemen, may deal a crushing blow to your chances of ever seeing the light of day again. I thought worth pondering, perhaps. Say no more, Gov, we hear ya.
We'll blab, we'll squeak, we'll preach.
Illegal entry, the whole truth. Alright, we did knock a few things over, but we weren't rifling for nothing.
It was when we heard the gunshot, see? Made us both jump, all the stuff went flying.
Limey, it didn't half give me a fright. We was thinking the shooter came out of the door and get us next.
We stuck everything back where we found it and scampered straight into it in the back.
We couldn't have shot the pawnbroker, see? We never even had a chance, did we? So you admit to defense's accusations. You did indeed ransack Mr. Wendy Brooks' countertop on the night in question. Not ransack, Governor, no.
That's right, Nash, that's right. It's more like we tidy it up, yeah. Sorry.
By their own admission, these brothers entered the pawnbrokery under dubious circumstances. However, they panicked and fled on hearing the gunshot, having first made good their mess. The way you say it, we hardly sound like roughs at all.
We don't, Nash, we don't. We can make us sound a bit more cutthroat.
It can't just be coincidence that these men show up at the Whitney Bank that night. There's more to their testimony than meets the eye. I'm sure of it. Why you look at me? He says. The illegal entry. So we have to find a clue that makes him spill the beans. Alright, we did knock things over, but we aren't roughing nothing. It was when we heard the gunshot we see made us both jump and stuff. We went flying. Loomy didn't give half a fright. We was thinking the shooter come out the door and get us next. We stuck everything back where we found it and scampered straight into the black. We couldn't have shot the pawnbroker, see? We never had a chance, did we? Yes, whereupon you fire a shot for your own gun at Mr. Humlock Sholmes. We was a bit hasty there.
We was, Nash, we was. Truth be told, I was already shaking like a leaf when you turned up. If you're shaking like a leaf, don't pull a loaded gun in your hand. Good advice, miss, good advice.
Truth be told, me mind went totally blank.
Before your mind goes totally blank, make sure you don't have a loaded gun in your hand.
Mental note made, miss.
After that, we leg it down the street, but apparently we look dodgy to coppers or something, so they clapped the darbies on us like winking.
And after you've been handcuffed, the police found this revolver in your possession, correct?
Well, yeah.
But listen, that proves done it, eh? We couldn't have shot the punker, see? We never had a chance, did we? Let me see. Let me see their pistol. So, there's an ammunition still loaded in 5 of these revolver 6 cylinders?
Yes, which tells us that only a single shot has been fired from it.
Exactly.
The bullet that hurt Hurley, in fact, isn't it?
Yes, it happened almost as soon as we walked in through the Windy Bake's door.
I'll make those brothers pay.
Anything else unusual about this gun? Probably not. Let me see the autopsy report. Victim pub, Windy Break, male, occupation, pawnbroker the street, time of death, blah blah, reporting party, Rio Naruhodo. Post-mortem finding, single bullet wound in the upper half of victim's back, no other visible signs of trauma. Autopsy findings, instant death from posterior anterior bullet wound to the heart. The bullet entered the body from the back and on a gently rising diagonal trajectory. Interesting. Let's see. What's this? Why did she decide to give me this? I have no idea. And then when you look through the eyepieces, you can see the image 3 dimensions. Anyways, back to the thing in question. Never had a chance in question. It was when we heard the gunshots, he made us both jump and stuff went flying. Alright, we did, but we weren't rifling nothing.
Hold it!
So, you didn't try open the storeroom door then? Not in your life.
It went definitely quiet after that, indeed. But the wind right up at me. But anyway, the door was locked, weren't it? No way, the was open.
Yes, of course. It was locked from the inside. Or so we've been led to believe.
It was, Gov. It was, from the inside.
Right. So we had no way of knowing what was going on in, did we? Unless there was some other way to get a view of the inside of the storeroom. Like through the keyhole or spy hole, perhaps. Don't ring no bells, don't light no lights.
We had to cut and run before we noticed anything like that.
We're still covering our teeth in this game, see? But one day... we'll really cut the mustard. Please, cut it out. But as we know, behind that door was the victim's lifeless body with the accused not 2 feet away. Yes, unfortunately. Kina was in there unconscious, with a gun in her hand. But what made her unconscious? To confirm, would it be correct to say that neither of you set foot inside the storeroom? The heck is that noise outside? Alrighty then.
That's right, Gov, that's right.
Good now, even if we wanted to. Couldn't have shot the bomb right, even if we had a chance, did we? And why should we believe that? What? Well, it's cause it's true, ain't it?
The place we totally hit empty when we went in, whatever.
At that time, the victim was already in the storeroom, having been forced to open the door by the accused who had gone to his head. In other words, on the night in question, these 2 witnesses never even laid eyes on the proprietor of the pawnbrokery, Mr. Windybake. Correct? You got it, mister. Down to a T. So the Skulkin brothers never actually encountered Mr. Windybake? Is that really true, I wonder? That's it. That's the full extent of their testimony?
What is it, Runo? You look very fierce. I could pour you some herbal tea if you're tired.
Oh, thank you, but I'm fine. Being such a logical thinker, you'll probably have laughed. I feel as though these birds are still hiding something. Something important. It's not more thing. Blah blah blah. I already know what to do. I just need to show. I gotta find inconsistencies in 2 of their statements. I got 2 more chances, so let's go check. Yeah, I know what the heck they mean. But we have to check on the other 2. I always do left from right. I thought I could make my way into, like, if I can just find it quickly, but no. Whatever I guessed did not make that matter. So, as always, because every time I try to go from left to right, it always seems long in the videos, but when I go, like, trying to find a shortcut route, I'm back to square one. If that's the case, then why didn't you testify the effect in the first place? Well, you know, we ain't exactly squeaky clean, are we?
We ain't, Nash, we ain't. If we admitted to something like that, people would think we was up to no good.
Well said, Ringo. Me old China. We only let ourselves in even more trouble. And in fact, now, as a result of lying in your previous testimony, that's exactly what you've done. Landed yourselves in more trouble.
That's running luck.
Says the rotten apple eater. Witnesses. Explain your actions to the court. Why did you ransack the victim's counter? We never ransacked nothing.
Right, Nash, right. More like tidy up the place.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Hold it!
So what you're saying is, the sound of the gunshot shocked you so much you knocked all those things off the counter. Well, it shocked one of us much, yeah. That bag of nerves needs to learn to keep its shit in.
Look, it was loud, alright? Blimey, me, Dad, Granny would have woken up that bang.
Big brother, they're screaming like a blooming baby and fell over on the counter. Out knocking over a load of books and candlesticks, some skull, whatnot.
That got tangled in some mirror and ant, whatnot knucker, in a picture frame, whatnot knucker, scales on the floor. I don't know what I'm saying. You really master working up quietly then. What a racket. Me, Granny would have scared back her into her grave, but I caught her like that.
So in short, the gunshot took you by surprise. And then some. I mean, it was quiet at the mouse, and then... Like I said, I tried going from left to right. I won't find the answer that I'm looking for. What I'm least expecting it, I found my answer.
Excuse me.
Inspector Gregson, do you have something to add? Like I keep saying, I don't appreciate being lobbed in with these scoundrels. No, something to add about their testimony. You seem to react just now at what Mr. Skulkin said. Did it make you think of something? It's probably nothing, of course. I wouldn't even bother to mention it. Only, well, the fact is, cases don't get solved if you ignore the little details. How about you just tell us what's on your mind? As you know, we brought these fellas into the yard for questioning last night. At the statement they gave, they told a slightly different story to what they're saying now. Did it? You claim you heard the victim shout something out before the gunshot.
Might have. Does ring a bell now you mention it.
Granted, it's only a minor detail, but still. I can't help feeling like perhaps you've been a bit sloppy with your testimony here, fellas. If I discover the witness testimony has been any more sloppy than it is, I shall be forced to bring the very harshest punishment to bear against them. Easy.
We'll get it right this time.
That's it, yep. It's all coming back to me now. Then speak. Supplement your testimony with whatever details have miraculously returned to your questionable mind, sir.
Right you are, Gov.
Just before the gunshot, we heard a voice yelling out, "Give me that gun."
Hold it!
So in fact, you heard the voice and the gunshot almost simultaneously.
We did, Gov, we did.
Although, I suppose if you're being honest, we've heard a kind of wavering voice before the yell and all.
If you don't want to get shot,
Give me that gun.
bam! Kind of thing.
Career in acting. Tragically missed. And where were the voices coming from, could you tell?
Of course we could. From the other side of that door behind the counter it was.
From the storeroom where the victim was found dead. And the voice you heard, it was that of the victim, Mr. Windybank.
On my granny's life, 'cause it was.
On its granny's life, 'cause it was. So that would mean that you both knew Mr. Winbank and the sound of his voice. So that would mean what?
What, Nash, what? Any ideas?
Yes, Counsel, indeed it would. And you guys stated that you didn't know the guy. No, we didn't know the geezer.
Oh, I'm supposed to deny it when the bloke and all the fancy club are giving an even eye.
If you value your lives, you will ensure your testimony is accurate and true.
Oh, on my granny's life it is.
On his granny's life, it must be.
It's a good job his granny's dead.
To summarize that, immediately after hearing the voice of the victim, you hear the gunshot, causing you to stumble and upset the items on the counter, scattering them over the shop floor.
Yeah, make it sound like we're clumsy.
Don't forget, we tidy it up after like a good little boys. Anyways, the way I see it, the bloke was holding a gun, so we have fire instead of yelling the girl. The bloke what owned the place was holding a gun, so we have just fired instead of yelling. What? Just before the gunshot, we heard a yells, blah blah. The bloke what owned the place. I don't remember. You're saying that Mr. Winbank had a gun in his hand? Oh yeah, bet that was a sight, eh? Them two waving them guns at each other must have got pretty heated. I mean, just before he shouted, we heard the geezer say, "If you don't want to get shot."
Didn't really sound like a man in mind. More of an empty threat, you could say.
Mr. Windybank was known to keep a revolver on his shop counter at all times. People say that to protect the articles in his keeping, he really put a bullet in someone's head if required. His own head. That someone being himself, of course. Good grief, extraordinary devotion indeed if alarming misguided. Well, certainly it sounded like because ready to pull the trigger the other night. Only the person was gonna shoot beat him to it. Cooking is goose proper.
Bet he wished he'd squeezed the trigger instead of wasting time shooting. Give me that gun.
And it was directly after those words that you heard the gunshot. It was more or less at the same time, Gov. Give me that gun!
Bam! Kind of thing.
Yes, a career in acting, very tragically missed. Then we heard the sound of someone hitting the deck. Before everything went dead quietly.
After that, we done that slap dance, giant job the place up.
Did we not just went through this? Let me and then give me a fright because thinking this should have come out the door and get us next. We stuck everything back we found in the scaffold back. We couldn't shot the pawnbroker. I got nothing, Chief. The bloke who owned the place was holding a gun, so we should have just... So you're saying that he had the gun first, is what you're saying. So the contradictory is that it's in this photo. You're saying that he had the gun, but there was only one gun in question.
Objection!
No! Wait, what? That was actually right? That's actually right. On the night in the question, the victim, Mr. Windybank, was holding a gun. Is that correct? That's it, Gov. You got the picture.
And Nash, he has, no question.
I actually got it right? But I wasn't even thinking of this picture at all. That Mr. Windybank was not holding a firearm of any description. Okay, the first thing that I was thinking in my mind was this photo right here. That's what I was thinking because it didn't show any photographic evidence of him with a gun. I did not mean this at all. I didn't. So, go me? I guess?
You what?
Gordon Bennett, that ain't right.
Objection!
There can be no question that the victim revolver was used in the incident. I will remind the court that Mr. Windybank's gun was found at the scene. Not only was it identified as the murder weapon, but it was found on the accused's hand. Yeah, that mole taller used the victim's own gun to finish him off. Give me that gun.
Bam! Kind of thing.
Hold it!
Say exactly where you are, right there. Eh? If the crime had taken place as you colorfully described to your testimony, it would give a rise to an undeniable and significant inconsistency in the final moments you just acted out. Goodness, are you sure, counsel? You intrigue me, my learned friend. Well, let's see some evidence to support your claim. Where is the proof that demonstrates the inconsistency in the witness's portrayal of the victim's final moments?
The way he was shot? I don't know. The way he was shot? I don't know.
Where is the proof that demonstrates the inconsistency in the witness's portrayal of the victim's final moments? Please tell me it's the one that I'm thinking of. Because it says it's giving me the gun, right? But in reality, he was in the opposite direction. Oh! Because it shot us in the foot, but it was firing in the back. Autopsy report or this?
Take that!
According to the testimony, the witness claimed to have heard a shout of, "Give me that gun," followed by the gunshot. Indeed, with two events happening almost simultaneously, or so we have been led to believe. Yes, that's right. Now, if that testimony is true, it would mean that at the moment of death, the victim and his attacker would have been facing each other. However, in the autopsy report, it clearly states that the victim died instantly after being shot from behind. So, as I stated before, there is an undeniable inconsistency in your testimony, Mr. and Mr. Skulkin. But, it's the God's honest roof.
It is, Nash, it is. When it was shot that night,
The shopkeeper had a gun in his hand, and we saw it with our own bleeding eyes. Did I hear you right just now? You actually saw Mr. Windybags holding a gun? Something like that might have slipped out. Ladies and gentlemen, you have all just heard the admission by these two witnesses that on the night in question they actually saw with their own eyes the victim wielding a gun, which can only mean that despite their testimony to the contrary, the Skulkin brothers must have encountered the victim in person.
Nash?
Order! Witnesses, explain yourself at once.
Wait,
Well, the thing is, we weren't supposed to, It would seem that my previous warning fell on deaf ears. I made it quite clear the false witness would be the death of you. Am I to understand that you replaced the untruth of your original testimony with renewed lies? Ever so sorry, Governor. The truth is, see, we,
cut it out, Nash, cut it out. If we blab now, you know what's gonna do to us.
He, who are they talking about? Let me make your position here perfectly clear. You will talk. There is no other option available to you. Bruv, come on, that's getting up.
But, we all have our guts for gutters.
In case it hasn't quite sunk in yet, no matter how hard you try to hide it, the truth will come out. On the night in question, it is now apparent that you brothers met face to face with the victim. I demand you testify again to explain the precise circumstance under which the meeting took place. Well...
Do we have to?
On pain of death, I suggest you make yourself fully aware that this is your very last chance to tell the truth. Wow. Encounter with the victim.
Alright, so we just got inside the gaff and had a sign of relief when the geezer showed his mug. Give me that gun, I'll bellow, and then flew us out like I was possessed. I thought we had it.
For an old geezer, the bloke was strong as an ox. He chucked me over the counter.
I pulled me gun on him and then legged me through the door in the back room.
We never had nothing to do with killing him. That's all what happened, I swear.
So you're now telling us the moments before the victim was killed in the storeroom, you in fact encountered him in the main part of the shop.
Well, yeah, sorry. Well... Oh, my bad. We found ourselves at an interesting juncture. This changes matters considerably. But honest, Governor, this time,
Nash, this time we ain't got nothing more to hide.
Very well, counsel for defense. You may proceed with your cross-examination.
Yes, my lord. This is it. The moment I've been waiting for. The encounter with the victim. Alright, so we just got inside the gaff and heave a sigh of relief when the geezer showed its mug. When you say geezer, I presume you mean the victim and proprietor of the shop, Mr. Windybeg.
Who else? Sorry, I mean, that's right.
We was keeping a close eye on the entire entrance to the gaff, obviously, but we never thought no one was gonna come out of the back room like that.
The back room being the pawnbroker's storeroom?
Yeah, that must be where he popped up from. The only place we could have been.
So it would seem the victim was already in the storeroom when the brothers entered the premises.
Which means Ginny must have been there at the time point as well.
But that doesn't make sense, does it? If Gina had threatened Mr. Windenbeg into the storeroom with her at gunpoint, then why would he have emerged from the same room all alone when the brothers arrived?
Oh, I don't know.
Did you see the accused at the time?
What? That Molly Tooler? Couldn't tell ya.
No way, Cubber. We had bigger fish to fry then. I mean, the old geezer just lost it. Give me that gun, Bello, and the he flew us like I was possessed. I thought we had it.
For an old geezer, the bloke was strong as an ox, chucked me over the counter.
I pulled me gun on him and lagged it through the door in the back room.
Were you intending to shoot Mr. Windybank?
No, never. I was just, looking out for my brother, weren't I? Because he was flattening out, don't forget.
By a man whose chest shop was being burgled, yes.
And then the man fled into the storeroom when you pointed your gun at him, is that it? Yeah, that's it. He shoved me away, then ran off through that door and shut himself in.
There's something about that last remark. Something that doesn't quite ring true. I wonder why Mr. Winterbank ran into the storeroom. What? Well, according to what everyone's saying, Ginny was in there waiting for him with a gun. Ah, yes, that's right. Gina allegedly used Mr. Winterbank's gun to threaten him and force him to open the storeroom. In which case, how did the gun end up in Mr. Winterbank's hands again? I have no idea, but that is strange, isn't it? This is a little inconsistent, could be significant. I should make a mental note of it.
Look, the point is, me and him were brother.
That's right, Nash, that's right, me and brother.
We never had nothing to do with killing him. That's all what happened, I swear. I pulled me gun on him and then he legged it through the door into the back room. Let's see. Okay, let's see if my wonderful guess comes through again.
Objection.
Nope. 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 That's not it, Chief. That's not it. I pulled my gun on him and then lay it through the door into the back room. Let's see what I'm thinking. Blood symbols, this manuscript, pawnbroker's ticket, Mingitos notes, today's paper, autopsy report, crime scene photograph, crime scene floor plan, Windbag's gun, photograph of Gina shooting, stereoscope. I got nothing, Chief. Well, we never had nothing to do with killing him, blah, blah. You say you had nothing to do with it.
Nothing at all.
Nothing, Gov, nothing. The gold geezer went and shut himself in the back room, didn't he?
Locked it was from the inside.
We know it was, because we tried to open it.
But it's a decent door, that one. Good and strong. Wouldn't budge an inch.
So in the end, the situation remains unchanged. Inside the storeroom with the pawnbroker, there was only one other person. The sole person who could possibly have shot the victim. The accused, Miss Gina Lestrade.
It would indeed appear so.
We could take the fall. We could. But we have no evidence to support it. Mr. and Mr. Skulkin.
What?
What's the look for?
From the moment you admitted that you encountered the victim face to face that night, the course of the trial changed completely.
It did?
What is your point, my learned friend? The question we must answer is who could have shot Mr. Wendy Bank, and is the belief of the defense of the defendant is not the only possible answer at all. You have my attention. In that case, let us return to this planet premises. The victim was killed in the storeroom, which was locked from the inside. Those are the facts. So pray, what other possible answer to the question of who shot the man could there be?
Counsel, you must now provide answers to the court in the respect of two conundrums.
Two, my lord? Twice as many chances to be right? Maybe?
Indeed. Namely, from what location did the culprit shoot the victim? And furthermore, where was the victim at the time?
Understood, my lord. Are you alright, Bruno? I'm not entirely sure, but there's one thing I'm sure about. If I can prove there's a credible new alternative to what happened, it would change Gina's prospects hugely. Guys, explain how she went unconscious. So now, time for clarity. Show the court on this plan the answers to the questions posed by his lordship. If you believe someone else could have killed the victim, indicate where the person could have fired the gun. Inside? Where else?
Take that!
The defense believes that the culprit could have shot the victim from this location here. And in answer to the second question, assuming the culprit fired the location indicated, where was the victim at the time? Assuming the culprit was fired from the location indicated, where was the victim at the time?
Take that!
The defense believes that the victim would have been in the position here. What your answers in fact show is that your own position is absurd as those you have indicated in the plan. What are you saying? Yeah, I know. I just don't know where I was going with it, Chief. It restated back. It just restated where it was. If you believe someone else could have killed the victim, indicate where the person could have fired the gun. Because if they said they didn't do nothing, there was no one else there, there has to be someone else here. Someone that we didn't see.
Take that!
I don't know. Let's just go with that and see what happens.
Take that!
The defense believes that the victim would have been in the position here. What does your fact show? Is that your own position, sir? Blah, blah. Yeah. I got nothing, Chief. Diagonally, he said? Okay, let's try this.
Take that!
Does it matter where exactly?
Take that!
We got it right? The culprit shot the victim from outside the storeroom. Continue. Mr. Windbreak died instantly from the bullet wound in his back. Looking at the stain of blood on the storeroom floor, it doesn't appear that the body was moved after death, which tells us that he was almost certainly shot while he was in the storeroom. However, the crucial point is, where was the shooter when the fatal bullet fired? So you are adamant that the shot was fired from outside the storeroom. Well, according to the Skulkin brothers' earlier testimony, 5 minutes ago, I put the gun on him but then legged through the door into the back room. Mr. Windbreak ran away through the door. We've had to assume that the door was open at the time. It was precisely that moment when the victim was fleeing for his life that these brothers had the perfect opportunity to shoot the man in the back once he was inside the storeroom.
Come to think of it, do you remember what the prosecutor said at the start of the trial?
Moving on to the findings of Scotland Yard's coroner. His report states the bullet entered the body on a rising diagonal trajectory. It means the victim was likely shot by someone significantly shorter in height than himself.
Poor man, shot while he was running as fast as he could to safety.
Of course! He would have been leaning forward as he was running away, so even if the bullet was fired horizontally, it would still have entered his body on an upward trajectory.
So the culprit isn't necessarily someone shorter than Mr. Windbreak.
I'm sure my learned friend can't have forgotten that the storeroom door was found closed and locked from the inside. You claim the victim was shot as he fled into the room. Do you also claim his corpse was dexterous enough to turn the key in the lock?
But...
What if someone else locked the door? Yes, there is someone else who could have locked that storeroom door. Is that so? Very well done, counsel. Present your hypothesis to the court. In the scenario just described, the defense assertion is that the victim was shot from the outside the storeroom. In which case, who shot and locked the storeroom door from the inside?
Take that!
Obviously, the person who locked the door was the only other person inside the storeroom at the time. The defendant, Miss Jeannie Lestrade.
Objection!
Absurd. You're suggesting that the accused deliberately engineered a sealed room? For what possible reason? Such actions would only serve to tie the noose around her neck. I am inclined to agree, I must say. Well, counsel?
Yes, that's a tricky one, isn't it?
Half-baked notion have no place in my courtroom, Cross. Remember that, please?
But of course Jeannie would have locked the door. It almost goes without saying, doesn't it?
It does?
Well, if I was Jeannie in that situation, I know I would have locked the door as quickly as I could. I mean, those two burglars had just fired a gun in her direction, hadn't they?
Oh yes, obviously. Before the two brothers arrived, Miss Lestrade and Mr. Windbreak were in the storeroom together. Now, I don't know what went on between them at that time, but at some point, Mr. Windbreak must have heard the intruders breaking into a shop and left the storeroom.
Intruders? That's us, bruv.
If your theory is correct, that would leave the accused alone in the storeroom. Yes, it would. Then, probably only moments later, the victim fled back through the storeroom door, hoping to escape the danger. Bang! Hit in the back by the bullet, Mr. Windbreak fell to the floor where he was, just inside the storeroom. And what we have to ask ourselves now is, what would the defendant have done in the moment? I see where you're going with this. Outside the storeroom was a terrifying killer who had just murdered Mr. Windbreak. As soon as that thought struck Miss Lestrade, she slammed the door shut and locked it, in order to save her own life.
Hold it!
But we ain't the ones who done it. We ain't, Gov, we ain't. You gotta believe us. I mean, come on, we never shoots no one.
That's blatantly untrue. I know for a fact that you would. Because before my own eyes, you shot Mr. Herlock Sholmes. There is only one logical conclusion here. Mr. and Mr. Skulkin, your brothers had every opportunity to have the true perpetrators of Mr. Winniebig's murder. Objection. Then they're gonna say that they're not guilty, and then Vampire's gonna say not. It's gonna have an objection.
That was amazing, Bruno. All the members of the jury seem to be firmly on your side now.
I know, first time ever, and probably the last.
Well, I think you've done it. Surely they'll give you a verdict or not.
An admirable effort, my learned friend. What's this now? He's laughing? You find the situation amusing, Lord Von Zykes? I myself find the defense argument most persuasive. I dare say, such chicanery is the bread and butter of the street performers in your provincial eastern nation. But such blatantly malicious conjuring tricks amount to nothing more than excusable pettifoggery here. What? The hypothesis you put forward so ostensibly credibly cannot and will not stand. Because you see, it contains a fatal flaw. A fatal flaw? Do you mean to tell me that you're unaware of your logic's failing? I say, Lone Von Zykes, might it be an idea to explain the bally conjuring trick or whatever is to troops on the ground? The fatal flaw in my learned friend's argument is really simple to understand. I'm using your not too dim wit to count bullets. By George, count bullets?
Oh dear, he noticed then.
Huh? What's everyone talking about? Counsel?
Yes, sir?
Tell the court how many bullets were found at the scene of the crime. Two. 2 bullets. Correct. The first that which hit the victim in the back, ending his life. The second that which struck the detective, Mr. Herlock Sholmes, on his arrival at the scene. Indeed. The defense presented a picture showing the damage caused by the second bullet earlier in the proceedings. A bullet which injured Mr. Sholmes appears to have passed through his body to the strike calendar. Your lordship's understanding is correct. Furthermore, we know there are 2 firearms involved in the incident. The revolver belonging to the victim, Mr. Windybank, and the Skulkin brothers' revolver. The evidence shows that a single bullet was fired from each gun. Yes, indeed it does. A single bullet from each. Now then, my learned friend. You yourself told the court only moments ago that these 2 brothers shot Mr. Herlock Sholmes right before your eyes.
Yes, I did. Oh my goodness, I think you'll find
that if the single bullet that was fired from the brothers gun hit Mr. Sholmes, it means
Windybank not shot by same god stop by only 1 bullet stop.
Exactly. Yes, this Nippon street performer presented an ostensibly credible argument. However, it was never anything more than a divisionary trick with no hope of standing to scrutiny. Order! Order! Pray forgive the discourtesy of flinging the dregs of this hollow nectar into the public gallery. Lord Von Zykes! But this court needs to open its eyes. The accused, Miss Gina Lestrade, is no ordinary little girl. Despite her young years, she can regrettably no longer be described as a juvenile. No, the person in the dock is far from law-abiding citizen. She has past riddled with criminal conduct. The truth is, the accused broke into the pawnbroker on the night in question with loads of intent. As we can see beyond doubt in this print, which depicts her threatening the victim with murder weapon. Oh, here we go again! And I have here in my possession one more piece of evidence the prosecution wishes to present. Hey, that's the disc! Okay, we don't need to go through this. We know he took it and took him to the precinct, whatever. All we need is that thing that was in the back. That's all. That's all we need was whatever was in the back of it.
Yes, that music box disc. Mr. McGill's music box disc.
That very day before the hateful murder of Mr. Windybank, the accused attempted to make off with the article, which clearly doesn't belong to her, and with none of this simply pickpocket, I might add, but by brute force embracing impudence. Good gracious! Make no mistake, any sympathy for the accused on the account of her years is misguided and dangerous. There are no debts to which this girl would not stoop and push, no crimes she would not commit. The court forgets the fact that it's... whatever. I say, I think it would be prudent to take this music box as evidence, counsel, as a grim testament of the defendant's character. Lord Van Zygt, I am... Inspector Gregson? What? Yes, Inspector. We had a meeting yesterday at the yard with the prosecution service, and, I think it was agreed that the disc wouldn't be used as evidence.
What's this all about? Why is the inspector acting strangely? That's the first time he said anything to Van Zygt at all.
I am unaware of any such meeting. But those were the instructions right from the top. The government bigwigs were insisted. Inspector, I am the prosecutor, and I alone determine how to present my case. Your warning is noted. Thank you. The prosecution wishes to proceed with submitting this desk as evidence, my lord. Indeed, bailiff.
Uh-oh.
Okay, let's check out what the thing is. Prosecution has supposed to blah blah blah. Let's check out the thing that was finally arrived to our disposal.
What was the thing on the note?
For McGilded. That's the man you defended in court a couple months ago, isn't it, Runo?
Yes, or rather mistaken defendant. Wonder what his name is doing in the back of this. That's a question I'd love to know to answer myself.
Can we open it? Oh my god. Oh wait, we have blood. Hold up.
Oh, Runo, look! This is blood!
Yes, you're right. Just a small smear, but definitely blood. Actually, I feel as though I might have noticed that before.
Haha, then it's my time to shine again. I thought I'd been waiting for it. Alright, hold still the disc.
Can we get this done quickly, Iris?
In the flash!
Huh?
Oh, a lovely bright shade again.
Wait, that color.
What is it?
It's just that green. It's not the first time we've seen that color, is it? Yo.
There is nothing more to add. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I await your informed decisions and rest my case. Hold it! Hold it!
I don't believe it.
I had the jury on my side for once, for all 5 minutes.
Oh dear, I wasn't even 5 minutes, Runo.
My lord, wonder if I say something at this point? Proceed, Foreman. Been stumbling about in a bit of fog up till now, if the truth be told, but all of a sudden, the answer's bally obvious to me and my man that one thing's for sure.
Oh no, here we go again. You already know what to do. Do your job, and we'll do the summation examination. Like, comment, subscribe. Chronicles 69. Signing out.